remember last week when he had the chairman of the MCSK, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, and he was ranting and going on about all kinds of things. And well, we decided, you know what, today we're going to get another point of view. So, joining us live in the studio is the chairperson of the Kenya Copyright Board, KECOBO, former Charangani Member of Parliament, Joshua Kutuny.
First of all, let me make it very straight that the collection of it is not 200 million as he claimed. The money that was collected, and it is in our record, is 249 million. The money that it is entitled as per share ratio that went to MCSK is not 109 million. It is 130 million. And the records that we have here are not the records generated by KECOBO. These are records shared by and signed by the CEO MCSK. We have records shared to us by CEO Prisk. We have also documents shared, signed by the CEO and the chair camp. So the document that we have are valid documents and genuine document from the CMOs. So for the CEO to come to studio or perhaps tell public that it was 200 million was collected, it is not. It is 249 and their share ratio was 130 million. So on that, it's the collection that was shared, then it could not account 26 million. There is also money that he is not talking about. There is another 30 million money from Google, the PRS. These are international royalties that are not entitled to other CMOs. That is Prisk and Camp. This is money that is only entitled to MCSK, and it is supposed to be distributed to the artist. That money, again, they could not properly account. For that case, then, when we went through all the documents that were tabled to us, we came to an agreement with my board. And remember that this is the first time that all the CMOs are appearing before the board with audited accounts, because that is supposed to be the case. For the last 15 years in existence of KECOBO, this is the first time. And I'm happy as a chair that we took that initiative with my CEO, invite these people with books of account. So therefore, we can clearly say that Mutua is misleading. It talks about running cost. When I have the documents here, how much is the running cost? Salaries alone of the 100 and even 10 million, 130 million. Salaries alone is 57 million. Salaries alone. And then their board is earning in a year 8.9 million. That is 9 million. So if you put salaries and the board alone, it almost comes to 67 million of the money that is collected. Now, when you go to the same budget that they table to us, because we don't want, with my experience, I don't want to talk outside documents that were not signed. I talk only on the document that was signed by the CEO, MCSK, Camp, and Prisk. The document that was signed to us by MCSK, they are saying they spent 2.5 million on PR in a year. They also went ahead to pay agencies or people who are collecting money, 12 million. Then finally, distribution to the artist is 7 million. Of the entire 100 and almost 30 million, they only distributed 10 million. When again we went further and went through the list of the distribution that shared with us, they only distributed 7 million. So that is why we are saying there is discrepancies in this. There is mismanagement of the resources of the artist. That is the contention issue that we are discussing here. Remember also the amount of money that was also given to the artist. One thing also that is very fundamental, that requires a lot of discussion. How was even the money distributed? The little money, the 7 million. Was there a scientific distribution way where you identify that so and so song, if it is Otile Brown, if it is Malisafi, how was it played, how many times? There is no scientific. So it tells us that people decide in a boardroom who to give money. And do you know the criteria they are using to distribute money? If you are vocal, there is tribalism, There is nepotism in distribution of the money. So the little 120, the 130, the 200, the one, how much that was given out even to these artists, 109, is being given. There is no proper or scientific way where you arrive and say this music deserves this. How do we kill industry? This music industry in this country, it is because of that. But if there was a proper formula, and this is a discussion that has been there for the last 20 years, saying develop a scientific way so that I know how many my music it has been played. Why is it that my music is playing well? Why is it that your music is not playing well? So then you improve it. Is it the quality of your music? Now, over 4 billion sector, these people are only collecting 249. Leave alone talking about the cost that comes into it. We are talking of an MCSK which is 40 years old. Jeff, 40 years. It's almost older than most of us. 40 years old. And we are still talking about distributing 110 million after 40 years in existence. The last 15 years when KECOBO has been in office, this is the first time chairman of the board called for a meeting to audit the CMOs, which means it was a failure of KECOBO also not to have done this for all those 15 years or 7 years. Now, for the first time, we've created a conversation. That is the first step. 2, we are moving towards identifying the challenges. We've already identified challenges. Do you know how much the 3 CMOs are putting together and investing on for salaries? Out of 249 million. 64 million MCSK are salaries. Then you come to PRISC, around 18 million. Then you come to camp, almost the same. Put together, salaries alone are almost 19 million. We don't need that. We might be migrating to one CMO, where all these board members, instead of getting 9 million from MCSK, another 6 million or 7 million from PRISC, another 7 million from camp, we want to collapse them, have one. Once we have one CMO that will be collecting, they will have one robust system. We will have one board. We will reduce the cost by 90%. Remember also there is a new legislation that is in place. When we discussed with the ministry, they are saying in 2-3 months it should be ready. We are going to do public participation. Now that Parliament is back on session, we should be doing public participation in 2-3 weeks to come. In another 3 months, we should be having the new legislation that now creates a platform where we're going to have one CMO. Once we have one CMO, we will be collecting. I am so sure once we have one CMO, we will be collecting over 300 million. One artist will be going home with almost 4 million. Why are we moving towards e-citizen? Of course, notwithstanding many other challenges which government is trying to fix on e-citizen. If we migrate, and Jeff and my good friend, if we are going to migrate to e-citizen, 2 things. Most of the counties are not paying. Most of the hotels, most of the restaurants, most of the institutions which are supposed to pay us are not paying. SACCOs are not paying. So the collection is a quarter of what is supposed to be collected. We could be CMOs are supposed to be collecting 1 billion. But as we migrate, if we migrate to e-citizen, it is not even the benefit of KECOBO. It is the benefit of the artist. We are going to triple what we are getting because we are going to tap to already government established system of collection of revenue. That is 1. It's no cost. And then 2, you can track amount of money that is collected every day. Because if you go to NTSA today as a SACCO, if you want to get a license for your matatu, the portal is clear. When you go to license copyright, it is automatic. If you don't pay, then you can't get the rest of the services. It becomes easier.
Listen to these amounts that musicians received from MSK in 2023, right?
Yes.
Otile Brown got 120,000. Ruben Kigame got 122,000. Rehema Lugose got 757,000. But noticeably absent are the likes of Sauti Soul, Calligraph Jones, people like that. How come they're not on this list?
Remember, one of the challenges that we have come through also through MCSK is the fighting the artist. When you are an artist that you can speak on your rights, then you're pushed out of the of the MCSK.
So if you're a rebel,
So exactly, that's the term. If
like,
you are a rebel,
like
then
Kutuny was in Cherangani.
let's not go that direction. Like Nonini, for example.
Yes, Nonini.
I want to give an example of Nonini. Nonini has not had peace with MCSK because of raising a lot of concerns, and many other artists. Now, these people, they are not in the list, but I think Sauti Sol, they are in the list, and they were given 1,600. So you can imagine where, if there are some artists who, that's why I'm talking about, there is lack of scientific. Even some of the artists that were paid, clearly when we run our own system, you don't even see their music. But the artists to whom their music is doing very well. And by the way, as collective responsibility and as a prudent manager, I had expected MCSK to go for the top artist and make sure that they are part of their list, part of their members, because that is how you make MCSK more vibrant. Then you will say, we've got Jeff Koinange, we've got so and so as our member, when you are parading your the team that you have.
Correct.
But deliberately they have decided to lock them out, frustrate them so that they get out. Somebody, when he came to the studio and he said, where is it on the law where it's saying 70%? I want you to I will take him back to the legislation, the 2020. It is 5.3e when it talks about royalties. It talks about administration should not be more than 30%. 70% should go to the artist. It is there in the legislation. It is there in the Act of 2020. So for somebody to claim that the law, it is not supported anywhere, it is there. Two, somebody is talking about we are a private entity. That where does the government come in? If you are a private entity, then why are you collecting royalties? And how are you collecting royalties? You are collecting royalties through the certificate that you've been given by a regulator. And before you are given the certificate, there are terms and conditions that doesn't apply to all the companies. In the end of the day, we get only 3 CMOs that qualify to be called CMOs to collect royalties. MCSK went to court in 2020 trying to declare some section of the law 46 unconstitutional, and Mumbi ventilated on the matter, and then the issue was thrown out, telling MCSK, in fact the litigant, it is MCSK that went to court, and they lost that case because they wanted to interfere. They wanted to stop government from interfering in their books of account and the rest. Remember that time there was quite a lot of forensic audit that was going on in most of these MCSK. So MCSK was trying to run away from government interference because of course they were trying to run away from the reality after misusing the funds of the artist. Now I want to it is good for the public to understand what was said in court, and it's very interesting. I think my friend will not like it.
Let's listen.
Yes, petition number. There was the High Court has decided that a society like MCSK is a CMO and must be regulated. Most of the cases were filed by MCSK. Here are 2 examples of the cases. Petition number 317 of 2015, Expedia Management and 4 others versus AG and 5 others, decided by Mumbi in 2016. And then there was, most recent was Justice Muma in constitutional petition number E436 of 2020, MCSK versus KECOBO, AG and CSICT. This is 30th September 2023. The judge dismissed application to declare section 46 unconstitutional and called MCSK a fictitious litigant. That these are people who are wasting time of the court. Now, if you go through even MCSK documents when they were tabling, do you know how much they've paid the lawyers? In a year alone, 12 million. Litigation after litigation. When I came to court, the first thing, when I came to the office, the first thing, he's being threatened with court orders. So I want to say, and I want to put it so that as a way forward, because I'm not here to accuse anybody. Any document that is arising from our discussion here are documents that were tabled. even producers are suffering. Do you, gentlemen, why are we having poor quality music in this country? Why is it that Fally Ipupa or maybe Kofi or maybe Diamond in Tanzania who will shoot up music that even you don't want to listen to music but you want to admire the quality of the video? It is because producers are paid well, because their CMOs are working, and then when the money comes, there is a proper way you can give a producer. Because I don't, as an artist, I have only the voice, but there is somebody sitting in the studio who produces my music. But you see, because MCSK and the rest of the CMOs are not working together, there is no proper way of trying to distribute the money. Because of the 1 million or 500 that I'm supposed to get as an artist, 200 should go to the producer, so then he can put more money. There was this guy, is it Josiah Teddy?
Ted Josiah, yes.
Yes, because recently he was saying that he doesn't want to ataki kufanya kazi ya kanisa. Because akina Teddy, those he has invested, akina Big Ted invested quite a lot of money in studios. But what happened? Music was being produced, played, but the money was not coming back. So we don't have, in fact today we've got kiosks who are producers. So what we are saying is that we need to harmonize. Reason why we are saying we need one CMO, so that once an artist is paid, we know how much will go to the producer and who was the producer. Then we have all the details and money is shared.
How long is that going to take, Chairman? Because
I really want your support, gentlemen. I really need your support. We've discussed with the government, we've discussed with all agencies, and I am happy some of the CMOs are willing to engage with us. If we can do another 3-4 months, then I come back here. We should have made progress. We will have known which system. Right now they are running 4 systems or 3 systems. Everybody is collecting his own money, and at the end of the day they are using the same office. You get the point?
Yeah, and yet billions or hundreds of millions are coming through.
Yes,
and disappearing.
Yes,
like
and
this,
then
like this Google money you mentioned.
The money that is coming from Google.
Where does it go?
Last year it was almost 200 million that came. But then only the money that was declared, I think it is 20 million. Now this year again, we are following up. In fact, there was a case that it is live at the DCI. The money came, and I'm happy a lot of, the government has covered a lot of ground. That matter would have concluded a long time ago, but people went and manipulated the DCI, paid a lot of money, the matter stopped. But we are happy that yesterday we've initiated the process. We will be following up. And Google and KECOBO, there is another one in South Africa. They are going to provide all the books of accounts.
And some people deserve to be in jail, let's face it.
Trust me, in a few months to come, some people will be explaining how they acquired what, how much they've spent, and where did the money go. Some people will be explaining to us why they don't distribute money scientifically. Let me ask you, for an institution that has been there 40 years, and today the artists don't even have something like even an insurance. Why don't you, like SACCOs, the way they've evolved ever since, where they gather for their welfare, the welfare of their members. They've got a nice package for retirement. MCSK has never come up with a way of trying to look to the interest of their members. We are saying this year, if it is a 1 CMO, if it is 2 CMOs, they must ensure that there is a welfare kitty for their members. We want to see insurance for their members. We want to see the last send-off package for their members. We must see it. And then 3, why are you giving everybody 1,200? Why don't you tell me, because my music did not play, I'm not giving you anything? So then I go back to the studio and I work hard. We are encouraging laziness among artists and producers. So we are telling MCSK, Camp and the rest that it is not enough to give everybody money. Let us give money as per the performance.
But at the same time, the artists are saying, you know what, why should I sing? Why should I produce music anymore? I'm not getting anything for it.
That's the point. You know? But we are telling them at the same time that this is the part now that I will stand with CMOs, and I will tell the CMOs, if my music is not playing well, don't pay me. Pay me when my music is playing well, so then I work hard. We will encourage musicians to produce good music. Do you know, you can imagine a level where as a country today, we will be excited to watch the music that trends is when you are naked. Obscene, you know, when you're naughty, is when your music trends. The same music will last for 3 days, 1 week. Why? It is because the rest of the institution which are supposed to encourage very good music have failed. So people have resorted now to music that maybe it's a content that will sell within a very short time. So as KECOBO, we want to regulate that. We want to move to a point where we will be going for quality music, the quality that can be played for at least 6 years, 1 year. Music now that has been, you can imagine, music that was playing in December, right now nobody's playing. Yeah. You're playing something else. You get it.
And then while we are at it, I don't know, can we talk directly to musicians? What would you tell the musicians right now? Because, you know, it's up to them to pull up their socks. And then again, when you come to think about this scientific process, isn't that another cost that will be, much as you want to wrap all these 3 CMOs under one, the cost of doing this IT system will be another cost that also takes a lot of money, another 40, 30, 1 billion. How will you counter that?
We remember what we were saying earlier is that when we migrate to e-citizen, it might be cost-free towards migration, because anyway it's a platform already created by government. But end of the day, it doesn't mean that the money will go to treasury. The money will still remain with the CMO if it is one CMO, because what treasury will do will create a wallet account where once the money is collected it goes there, and it is artists can monitor, and even KECOBO also can monitor the way the money is collected. So we are saying it will be cost free in terms of investments. And then two, I want to encourage the artist that all is not lost. What has not been happening is now happening. For the first time, we are making public books of account of the CMOs. If this was happening the last 4 years, I'm sure today we could be having robust CMOs with accountability and transparency. Give me time, perhaps maybe towards the next distribution, a lot of changes will have happened. And then two, I want also to encourage artists, produce good music. I think the